New York City never really goes quiet. Even when it's late, even when the streets look empty and the city is pretending to sleep, there's always something moving under everything. A low, steady vibration, a rumble that people stop noticing after a while, the same way you stop noticing the sound of your own refrigerator. Most New Yorkers will tell you it's just the subway doing its thing, but there's a certain kind of train sound that doesn't belong everywhere, and the people who've heard it in the wrong places all describe the same thing. It's quieter than it should be, smoother than it should be, like it's trying not to announce itself. And once you hear it, you start listening differently every time you stand near a tunnel at night. Before we continue, if you enjoyed chilling real-lifestyle horror stories, eerie urban legends, and documentary-style investigations into the unknown, please like this video, share it with someone who loves horror, and subscribe for more. Now, let's unlock one of the darkest subway legends in New York City. The ghost station some people call Station Zero. The legend of Station Zero. New York's subway system is older than most people realize, and it's been expanded, repaired, rerouted, abandoned, and sealed up so many times that even longtime workers admit there are corners they've never seen. Old platforms, half-built stations, service corridors, dead tunnels that exist like scars under the city. That's why the idea of a hidden station doesn't sound impossible. The rumor isn't that there's a secret station you can just casually visit. The rumor is that there's a station that sometimes shows up, and it doesn't show up because you're brave. It shows up because you're curious, and curiosity is the one thing this city knows how to weaponize. People who believe in Station Zero say the first sign is always the sound, a train coming from a direction that shouldn't be active. Then comes the yellow line, painted where it doesn't make sense, and after that, the station starts learning you. Not your face first, your name. That's the detail that separates a creepy rumor from something that makes your stomach tighten. Multiple people, years apart, claim they heard their own name spoken over a platform that shouldn't have power. The message that started everything. Eli Carter was a small but well-known urban exploration creator, the kind of guy who filmed abandoned spaces at night, not to vandalize them, but to capture that feeling you get when you step into a place humans stopped caring about. His friend Jules was the one who kept him grounded. Jules wasn't fearless, he was just good at laughing through tension so it didn't take control of the moment. One night, Eli got a direct message from an account with no profile picture, no posts, and a username that looked like random letters and numbers. It asked a simple question. You like abandoned places, right? You ever hear about Station Zero? Eli ignored it because creators get weird messages all the time. But the account sent another message, an image of a subway map that looked wrong in a way that was hard to explain. It wasn't flashy or obviously fake. It looked used, folded, stained, like someone had carried it around for a long time. And on that map, under Manhattan, there was a faint gray loop that didn't belong, ending at a small, unlabeled circle. Next to the circle, written lightly like the person didn't want to press too hard, was a single character, 0. Then came the last message. If you hear the train before you see the station, you're already too deep. Eli showed Jules. Jules stared at the map longer than he wanted to admit, then said, "It's fake," paused, and added, "But it's good fake. Because
The
bad
loop
fake
curve
tries
shown
too
on a
hard.
schematic,
Good fake leaves
too
gaps,
tight for
and
modern
gaps make your
comfort.
brain fill in the blanks with fear. They told themselves they'd just check it out, film a creepy corridor, and leave. They didn't understand that Station Zero isn't a place you visit, it's a place that invites you. The door you never notice. Subway stations are full of doors people don't see. Plain gray panels, unmarked metal entrances, utility doors that blend into the wall like they're supposed to be invisible. Most people walk past them for years and never register them, until one night they do. Late, after delays and reroutes, Eli and Jules ended up near one of those doors, and it was slightly open, not wide, just enough to make you notice. And the air that came from that crack hit like a memory. Wet concrete, dust that had been sleeping for decades, old pennies, cold metal. Jules looked at Eli like, "No way." Eli looked back like, "We came for this." They slipped through, and the door shut behind them with a soft click, not a slam, more like someone gently closing a book. The corridor on the other side was narrow and tiled. Their flashlights made the tiles shine, but the shine looked wrong, less like polished ceramic and more like damp skin. They passed warning signs, authorized personnel only, no access, keep out, until Jules stopped dead in place. On the wall was a real subway-style sign with clean white letters on black that read, "Stand behind the yellow line." That made no sense because there was no platform yet, just hallway. But when they looked down, there it was, a yellow line painted straight across the tiles. The paint looked fresh. And that detail mattered because it meant somebody maintained this place, or something did. The platform that shouldn't exist. The corridor dipped slightly, and the air changed. It got heavier, colder, like the walls were holding breath. Then the space opened up, and they stepped onto a full subway platform. Benches sat under a dead ceiling stained with watermarks shaped like continents. Old posters peeled on the walls, advertising things that felt out of time. The silence in there was the kind that makes your ears ring. Eli swept his flashlight across the wall, and where the station name should have been, the black sign was scratched so hard it looked like someone tried to erase it with fingernails. Under the ruined name, someone had written in chalk, 0. Jules whispered, "No way." Eli raised his camera because filming was how he kept fear at arm's length. That's when the platform speaker crackled, and a tired voice, like an old conductor, said, "Stand clear of the closing doors." Jules froze.
He called it
There wasn't power
the loop.
down there. The lights were dead. There shouldn't have been a working announcement system, and yet the speaker had spoken. In the middle of the platform, a ticket
change.
booth sat
The
behind dirty
14:30
glass.
express to
Inside was a
Manchester
stool
is
with an
now
old transit
departing
jacket
from
on it,
platform
like someone
5.
left it there and expected to come back. On the counter was a paper cup. Eli's flashlight hit it, and the surface of the coffee rippled, not from vibration, not from footsteps, but like something had just breathed near it. Then the phone on the wall began to ring hard, old-fashioned rings that made Eli's stomach tighten. Jules shook his head immediately and whispered, "Don't." Eli reached anyway, because curiosity doesn't feel like danger in the moment. It feels like the next step. The second Eli touched the receiver, the low rumble under the platform stopped, like the underground took a breath and held it. He lifted the phone to his ear and heard static. Then, very softly, a whisper came from behind him, through the air itself, not through the receiver. "Don't cross the yellow line." Eli spun around. Nobody. Jules stared at him like he'd heard it too. Then the receiver spoke clearly. "Next train arriving."
The silent train. Normally, you hear a train before you see it. The roar, the metal scream, the rush of wind. None of that happened. The tunnel stayed black until two headlights appeared deep in the darkness and glided forward like the darkness itself was moving. No clatter, no brakes, no screech, just approach. The train that slid into the platform looked old, rounded corners, dull metal, with windows framed with tired eyes. Behind the windows were people, packed in tight, standing still, not swaying, not blinking, not checking phones, like mannequins arranged for display. As the train got closer, Eli noticed something that made his blood turn cold. Every single one of them was looking in the same direction, toward the platform, toward Eli and Jules, like they'd been waiting
Opening
for
the
them.
bag.
The train stopped
the
perfectly,
lens,
and the doors
mounting
stayed
it
shut
now.
for a moment.
Caps
Then
off.
the speaker voice changed. It wasn't tired anymore. It was cheerful, bright, friendly in a way that felt wrong underground. It said, "Please watch your step," and the doors opened. The air that came out wasn't cold. It was stale and clean, like disinfectant, like bleach, like a room that had been scrubbed to erase evidence. Eli's flashlight hit the floor inside the car and revealed fresh footprints in dust, leading deeper in. Jules grabbed Eli's sleeve hard and said, "We're not going in." Eli nodded instantly. He couldn't even argue. But then, one of the figures inside shifted. A head turned slowly in jerky little movements, like a glitch. The face came into the edge of the flashlight, and it looked human but wrong,
I know,
like someone tried to assemble a
but it's
face
still
from
open
memory.
sometimes.
Eyes placed slightly off, mouth too wide, skin too smooth. The cheerful speaker voice said a single word that made Jules freeze. Jules. Jules whispered, "How the hell?" Then it said, "Eli." Every head inside the train turned at once, not smoothly, but in tiny, unnatural jerks. Eli felt the moment
The structural
his body
issue
understood
is in the
something his brain didn't
foundation.
want to
We
accept.
need to
They weren't
reinforce
just
it
seeing
before
the
it
train.
gets
The
worse.
train was
It's a
seeing
priority
Eli.
repair.
Then the posters on the platform changed. Eli swears it happened in a blink. The old advertisements were gone, and the walls were covered with missing person posters. Dozens. The faces on the posters matched the faces inside the train. And in the center was a new poster, clean and sharp, like it had been printed recently. It was Jules, wearing the same hoodie he was wearing right then, with the same half-open mouth like he'd been caught mid-sentence. Under the photo, it read, "Missing, last seen, Station 0."
Was waiting.
Jules stared at it like his brain couldn't connect reality to paper. Then he whispered, almost like a confession, "I've been here." Eli snapped, "No, you haven't." Jules swallowed and said, "I dreamed it. I swear I dreamed this place."
12:57.
The
It's
cheerful
repeating.
voice gave a
Here
small
too,
laugh,
pinning
like
it.
someone late
Another
to a
one,
meeting, and
same
said,
time.
"All
It's a
passengers
pattern.
must exit." Crossing the yellow line. Jules took one step toward the open doors. Eli grabbed him hard and said, "No, look at me. Don't look in there." Jules tried, but his eyes kept sliding toward the train like his attention was being pulled by invisible hands. He whispered, "It's calling me, Eli, not out loud,
Once you
inside my
notice
head."
it,
Eli
it
tightened his
notices
grip
you
and said,
back.
"Then don't listen." The train's interior light flickered once, and in that half second, Eli saw something pressed against the window from the inside, something long and dark, with joints that didn't look right, sliding along the glass like it was feeling for them. Jules breathed out, calm in a way that didn't sound like him anymore. He whispered, "I'm sorry," and stepped over the yellow line. Eli yanked him back so hard he felt fabric strain under his fingers, and for a second he had him. For a second, Jules was still on the platform. Then the air shifted in a way Eli couldn't explain, like gravity leaned toward the open doors. Jules slid forward like the train became the down, like the platform tilted without moving. Jules looked back at Eli, and the fear was gone. He looked relieved, like someone finally answered a question he didn't know he'd been asking his whole life. He said softly, "It's okay. It's just the next stop." The doors started closing. Eli lunged and shoved his arm between them, and this is what still messes with him. The doors didn't crush his arm like normal subway doors would. They hesitated, almost deciding, like they were checking if he belonged. The cheerful voice said, "Stand clear," and from inside the train, in Jules's exact voice, came a whisper, "Let go." Eli didn't hear it with his ears. He felt it inside his thoughts, like the words were placed directly in his head. His arm went numb, his grip loosened. Jules slipped away into the darkness of the car like he was stepping into a warm room. The doors closed. The passengers turned their heads toward Eli, and for the first time, Eli understood their stare. It wasn't rage, it wasn't hunger, it was recognition, like new staff seeing a future coworker. Then the train moved, smooth and silent, and vanished into the tunnel like it had never existed. The platform lights died again, the missing posters blinked back into old advertisements, and the low rumble returned, soft and steady, like the underground heartbeat never stopped. The escape that felt like a trick. Eli doesn't remember choosing to run. His body just did it. He sprinted through the corridor with his flashlight shaking so hard the beam bounced like a strobe. But the corridor was different now. Longer, shorter, newer, older. Signs appeared that pointed toward exits that led nowhere. An exit arrow directed him into a blank wall. A staircase went up too long like the station had no ceiling. At one point he stopped because he heard footsteps behind him. Slow, measured, like somebody taking their time. He spun around, empty corridor. Then he looked down and saw it again. A yellow line, fresh paint, always there, like a rule that follows you. Eli kicked a door in panic, more rage than strength, and it popped open like it finally got bored of watching.
He stumbled through and found himself on a normal station staircase. Normal grime, normal gum stuck under the rail, normal subway stink. He climbed into a station full of people like nothing happened. Commuters on their phones, a guy eating chips, someone arguing on FaceTime. The city didn't even look up. Eli ran back down because he needed Jules, needed proof, needed anything. The door he came through was gone, just smooth tile wall like it never existed. The one file that survived. Eli went home shaking and dumped the footage onto his laptop. Every clip was corrupted, every single one, except one audio file. He clicked play and heard static, breathing, his own voice whispering, "Jules, don't." Then the tired announcement voice, "Stand clear of the closing doors." Then the cheerful voice, "Please watch your step." And then, faint and distant like it was far away in a tunnel, Jules speaking, not screaming, just tired. "Eli," Jules said, "I can see you." Eli slammed the laptop shut, because the worst part wasn't the audio. The worst part was the rumble didn't stop when he got home. He could still hear it under the radiator, under the floor, under his heartbeat. The city starts saying his name. Weeks later, Eli was standing on a normal platform during normal service when the PA system crackled. The tired voice said, "Stand clear of the closing doors." And then, softer than a speaker should ever be able to get, it said, "Eli." Eli snapped his head around. Nobody reacted when they heard it. A train arrived. People got on. Eli stayed frozen because on the side of the last car near the door, there was a small white silver sticker with a printed 0 inside. As the doors closed, Eli caught a glimpse through the window. Jules was inside, standing by a pole like a commuter, not blinking, not moving, his face pressed close to the glass. His mouth formed silent words. Eli read his lips. "Don't make it mad." Then the train
Next
pulled
stop.
away, and in the window reflection behind Eli's face, he saw a long, dark hand touch the glass from the inside, like it was testing it. The yellow line comes home. The last thing Eli ever shared, before he stopped posting, before he stopped answering messages, was the detail that made people stop laughing. One night, his apartment hallway smelled like wet concrete and old pennies. He opened his door to check. The hallway lights flickered, and across the tile floor outside his apartment was a yellow line, fresh paint, bright, like someone painted it that week. Eli backed up and slammed his door, and in the quiet he heard it, a soft rumble, not from underground, but from inside the walls. Then a voice, cheerful and close like it was right outside his door, said, "Next train arriving." And then Jules, right up against the door, whispered, "Eli, I saved you a spot." After that, Eli's channel went dark. No uploads, no updates, just comments piling up from people asking where he went. And every now and then, somebody claims they hear a train in places where no train should be, and they swear the announcement voice says a name, not a station name, a person's name. Conclusion: the rule nobody talks about. If Station 0 is real, then the scariest part isn't that it exists. The scariest part is how it works. It doesn't chase you. It doesn't drag you screaming. It waits until you're curious enough to lean forward. Curiosity makes you take the extra step. Curiosity makes you ignore warning signs. Curiosity makes you forget the yellow line exists for a reason. So, if you're in New York late at night and you ever hear a train coming from a tunnel that should be dead, do yourself a favor, step back, look away, and let it pass. Because some doors don't open into tunnels, they open into the next stop. And if you cross that line, you might not come back missing, you might come back riding.